What's up, ladies? Happy Wednesday. Again, Wellness Wednesday for you guys. I'm here in New York, just finished my practice, and I feel super energized and happy to talk about dairy. I wanted to let you know that the dairy conversation topic came from a poll that I did about 3 weeks ago or so, where I asked some of you, what would you like me to talk about? And the first things that you mentioned was, what are the tools for us to recognize the symptoms and to recognize what's wrong in our digestive system? And that's when we did the Eat, Feel, Go challenge. If you want to know more about that, how to recognize what's happening in your digestive system, specifically what are some of the foods that are making you feel bad or not comfortable with your digestive system. Specifically, I've been getting a lot of questions about feeling bloated, inflammation after meals. So if that's you, you know who you are. Some of you have been talking to me about it. In fact, it's like 5 of you that have been talking to me about it. And so if that's your case, send me a message in the messenger, and then I will go ahead and give you the Eat, Feel, Go challenge so that you can recognize what are some of the things that are making you feel bloated, inflamed, and then we can take it from there and correct it. But today we're going to talk about dairy, and the reason why dairy is important to me is because there is so much information out there that we really don't know, first of all, who to trust, and second of all, what to do about it, because it's literally almost everywhere. So my mentors, Andrea Nakayama, my mentors, Professor Drew from the School of Traditional Chinese Medicine here in New York, and also some Ayurveda practitioners, recommend that we actually stay away from dairy. So I'm going to tell you 4 things today. 1, what is the actual problem with dairy? 2, what are the symptoms? How do we actually know if we have our lactose intolerance or have some sensitivity to dairy? 3, I want to tell you what's actually happening in our digestive system that is causing us to feel that way about dairy. And lastly, if you are lactose intolerant, if you don't feel any problems with dairy, then what are the recommendations? What are the kind of dairy products that you should be getting, right? So is it whole, or is it fat-free, or is it cow's milk? Like, what are the recommendations there? So let's start with the problem with milk. There are 2 things with milk. One is the fact that the agriculture industry actually adds a lot of hormones to the cows, and everything is being transmitted to us when we drink the milk. That's the problem number 1 that I have. The second problem is the fact that things like anemia, diabetes, asthma, and even cancer, all of them have been related to the consumption of milk or of dairy products. And I wanted to tell you this as well. We are the only mammals, if you think about it, and I'm sure you've heard about this, that continue to actually drink milk after we are grown-up adults. If you look at other animals, they drink the milk from the mom, right, until they're a certain age, and then that's it. Nobody is going to continue to drink milk. And so I think that is a key sign from nature telling us, listen, maybe dairy is not good for you necessarily. So it's just for us to consider. I think everyone is either partying or busy. It's Wednesday, but nobody's watching me now. It's okay. We're going to continue. Okay. So what is actually happening in our digestive system? Once we drink dairy, there is casein or casein, so Casein. There is a protein in the dairy that if we have a bad small intestine, remember when we talked about gluten, we talked about the insides of the small intestine, they're all villus, or let's say, think about a rug. So the interior part of this, your small intestine looks like a rug. So you have a lot of like things like this inside. And so what happens is when these villus get atrophied or are not working correctly, there becomes a space between the villus. And within this space, once we eat either gluten or we eat protein, the casein, which is a protein from the milk, actually gets inside of our blood system, because the villus inside our small intestine, which is responsible for absorption of nutrients, are not close enough. They're damaged. They're inflamed. And so the casein goes in and it goes into our blood system, and that's when the problem starts. So that's essentially what's happening in the problem with dairy, plus the hormones, right, that are being added to the cows, and then we drink it. And this happens with gluten too. The protein that is in gluten that goes inside, and then that's why we get the different autoimmune diseases. They go into our bloodstream, and then we start attacking ourselves, basically. And that's a problem with dairy. And so I wanted to talk to you about things and about how you can actually recognize whether you are having this issue of being lactose intolerant or sensitivity to dairy. And it's kind of simple but hard at the same time. It is simple because if you get symptoms such as acne, anything related to pimples, related to breakouts in your face or in your body, also congestion, like a lot of a running nose, when you feel like there's asthma as well, and allergies, all of this is related to a allergic reaction or sensitivity to dairy. Other symptoms are anything that ends in itis, because everything that ends in itis, like arthritis, like what else? Arthritis, colitis, all of this means inflammation. And so all of this also, it can be related to the consumption of dairy. And the last thing, it's if you're anemic, right? Because I hear a lot of you, Natty, you're one of them, that usually your iron levels are down. Hey, Sammy, yay, you wanted to know about dairy, so perfect. I'm happy that you joined. Woohoo! Okay, you're going to have to watch the video from start, but I'm going to continue talking about dairy, which is a topic that you wanted me to talk about. So if you suffer from anemia, or I don't know how to say in English, anemia, I think it is the same thing. Basically, that means that your absorption of iron, or your iron levels, are down. And what's happening is that since you're having issues in your small intestine because of the villus are they're not in the right place, you're not being able, because we have proteins, we have casein, we have gluten proteins in here in the middle going inside our bloodstream. So what happens is we're not able to absorb the right nutrients. So iron deficiency, magnesium deficiency, all of this is also related to consumption of gluten and dairy. So again, if you have symptoms such as skin breakouts, such as rashes, pimples, congestion in this area, runny nose, all of this could be a sign that you have any kind of sensitivity or allergy to dairy. Okay, so we talked about what is the actual problem with dairy. We talked about what actually happens in our stomach, specifically in the small intestine. We talked about some of the symptoms that you can recognize. So if you eat dairy, let's say yogurt in the morning, and then you start seeing some symptoms right after, then you can more or less tell. Also, when you feel inflamed and bloated, sometimes that happens to me. I feel inflamed and bloated, like my stomach, like there's a rock in my stomach. That's also a symptom that I have sensitivity to dairy, I'm sorry. And so what the problem is that if we are continuously eating dairy products, milk or yogurt or cheeses, then we're not able to identify if dairy is actually causing this. So it's like we live with this, and it's just part of our lives. Having pimples is part of our lives. Feeling bloated is part of our lives. Constipation is part of our lives. And the only way to know is by actually removing it. So my challenge, which I'm always doing challenges for you guys because I want you to feel better, is to try for 3 days to remove dairy from your diet. And that is the only way to realize if you're feeling better, if your face and your pimples and your congestion, it's actually calming down. But also, if in 3 days nothing happens, you don't feel better, maybe you need more time. You might need a week. And after a week, they maybe start to reintroducing it again. And I have a way to do that, that I can guide you on how to do that if you want me to. But then you will reintroduce it and then see again, how do you feel? And that's basically the only way to do it, unfortunately. There's no magic pill. It's about us being conscious about how our body is reacting to different type of foods. And honestly, it's so worth it. If I stay a week without dairy, it really changes the way I feel. And also, mate, for those of you Argentinian, Sammy, you recognize it? Thank you, Cami. This is a tea that they drink in Argentina. It's an herb. And, oh my God, yes, and it's delicious. So, going back to what you need to do, it's essentially remove it from your diet for a week and then reintroduce it to see how you feel. You are in shock because this is so good. I'm in good company here. And then lastly, if you are going to eat dairy, their recommendations is to eat full fat dairy. I mean, like the whole organic if you can. If you want to get cow's milk, that's fine, but I'm trying to tell you to stay away from cow's milk because those are the ones that are mostly managed and altered by agricultural companies. So try to go to goat's milk or sheep's milk and try to go as raw as possible. And I know it's an issue because the laws here, the FDA doesn't allow you to eat raw milk. In New York, there are like certain places where you can get it. I didn't say that. I don't want to go to jail, but look in your own farmers markets and see if you can find the less type of altered type of dairy product, milk or cheese or yogurt. And again, try to stay away from cow's milk, so sheep or goats. And yeah, that's kind of like my recommendation if you are going to eat dairy. Carlita, I know you joined. Hi. We were just talking about dairy and really what is the deal with dairy and whether we should consume it or not. In conclusion, summary, it is really better if we can stay away from it. Again, we're the only animals that after we're old, we're drinking milk still. So I see a question, what about vegan cheese, coconut milk? Yeah, and so on the other side, what would I prefer? What is it that I drink? I drink a coconut milk or almond milk that is carragenan free. And I will actually post, I'm sorry, because my English, I can't pronounce this word sometimes, but I will post the link of the ones that I drink, which are specifically with the less amounts of preservatives, less amounts of additives, because a lot of these milks, they have additives to make it thicker. It's like, if you actually make almond milk from scratch, which I have done, it's pretty simple, I can tell you the recipe, you know that milk only lasts 2 days. So some of these brands, you can have an almond milk in the fridge for like months. So that tells you that there is things being added into that into the milk. So for me, ideally, you want to have a good brand and you want to try to stay with almond and coconut milk. Stay away from soy milk because again, soy in the States is very, very altered. GMOs, a bunch of things that we don't want into our body. Awesome, Sammy. I hope that was actually helpful. If you listen to the video at the beginning, I think it will be helpful because I explain exactly what the real problem is with dairy. So I hope that was helpful. Carla, do you have any questions? I know you're a vegan now, so great. You don't have to worry about milk. And I don't know if you want to share what are some of the benefits that you've seen. I know when I removed dairy from my life, it's like, I don't know, I can see the world better. There's more clearness. Obviously, I poop every day almost. By the way, today I had an amazing poop. I never seen this before. You're going to laugh, but this is the only place where I can talk about this. I was about to take a picture of it, but then I said, this is going to be disgusting. I'm not going to post that. They're going to kill me. But it was like this, and all in a beautiful banana shape. Brown. I was so happy. I'm like, I wanted to call my husband and be like, hey, look at this, but that would be disgusting. He will be like, please just sign here. We're getting divorced. So I want you guys to feel happy about your poop. I want you guys to feel excited, because what that tells me is that my digestive system is working, and that makes me happy. So that's the story for today, ladies. I hope you enjoy it. Carlita, any thoughts from you in terms of now that you are not adding, that you don't have milk in your diet or dairy products? Anything that you want to share? Woohoo! I can see comments, and I don't know if anybody else is watching. Okay, well, if you want to post your comments, post them down in the comments below. And again, thank you so much, ladies, for watching. Like I always say, if you have a friend, family member that you think could benefit from this group, please add it to the group. I will be more than happy to welcome them in the group and to help them to improve their digestive system. So with that, I'm going to go. Have a great rest of the week, ladies, and please send me a message if you have any particular questions. I can pinpoint you to the right videos. So if you're coming back from a trip and you're feeling overwhelmed, don't think that you have to actually watch all the videos. Just send me a message and I will pinpoint you to the right videos. Bye.